For decades, the name Sean Diddy Combs stood as the very definition of power, luxury, and unshakable success. From his sprawling mansions in California and Miami to his gold-trimmed private jet, fittingly named Lavish, every inch of his world was a bold testament to extreme wealth and status. He wasn't just a music mogul, he was a cultural force, a living legend, an architect of influence. However, that image began to crumble on a fateful morning in March 2024. Not with flashing cameras or champagne toasts, but with the thunder of federal helicopters circling overhead. Agents descended on the high-walled compounds of his empire, breaching doors and exposing long-buried secrets. And suddenly, the question the world never thought to ask became impossible to ignore. Behind all the velvet and gold, was there something far darker? Was Diddy not just a genius, but a puppet master behind a hidden criminal empire? As the curtain lifted, the truth turned out to be far more complex and far more unsettling than anyone imagined. According to court records and testimonies from alleged victims, Diddy's infamous freak-off parties may have been far more than just high-profile, invite-only celebrations. Investigators now suspect these events served as covert arenas of coercion, spaces where young women were allegedly lured into a carefully controlled environment of manipulation and exploitation. Authorities seized thousands of items, including large quantities of lubricants and baby oil, hinting that these weren't just spontaneous gatherings, but rather events that were deliberately and strategically orchestrated. Beneath the glamour, prosecutors claim, lay a sophisticated network, not simply built to generate power, but to protect it, shielding a lifestyle that operated not only out of sight, but potentially outside the bounds of the law. To truly understand who Diddy is, you have to step inside the world he's so carefully constructed. A parallel universe where luxury has no ceiling, where every day feels like a celebration, and where every deal pushes him closer to the peak of extravagance. At the core of this empire is a jaw-dropping real estate portfolio. Take his Holmby Hills estate in Los Angeles, for example. A 17,000-square-foot mansion he bought for $39 million, now estimated to be worth over $61 million. But calling it a house wouldn't do it justice. This is a palace, complete with 8 bedrooms, 11 bathrooms, a 35-seat private theater, a wine cellar, a full gym, and even a private spa. Every inch radiates pure opulence. Outside, you'll find a resort-style pool complete with a cascading waterfall and hidden grotto alongside a full-sized basketball court, all coming together to create what feels like a private luxury resort, nestled right in the heart of the city of dreams. Down along the glittering shores of Miami's exclusive Star Island, Diddy owns a jaw-dropping $35 million estate, a private compound that's become his main sanctuary. The property spans 2 distinct buildings and features a personal marina, always ready to welcome his $65 million yacht, the Mariah, built for luxurious transatlantic escapes. And yet, that's only scratching the surface. Everywhere Diddy traveled, he did so in style. Aboard his personal Gulfstream G550, affectionately named Love Air. This flying palace was reportedly worth over $25 million, though some insiders believe the true value could climb closer to $60 million. Inside, it wasn't just a jet. It was a 5-star hotel in the sky, outfitted with opulent interiors and every amenity imaginable, designed to make every journey feel like a first-class event. Meanwhile, on the ground, Diddy's presence was just as commanding. He cruised through city streets in a car collection that turned heads and told stories. From the vintage class of a 1958 Chevrolet Corvette to the bold lines of a Lamborghini Gallardo Spider, not to mention multiple Rolls-Royce Phantoms that embodied elite luxury. These weren't just modes of transportation. They were rolling status symbols. And as of 2024, his net worth hovered around $800 million, a number that speaks volumes about the empire he built. For years, Diddy's parties were nothing short of legendary. Lavish, multi-million-dollar nights that the elite and entertainment world flocked to like moths to a flame. Just picture it. Neon lights slicing through the dark, champagne cascading non-stop, world-class DJs setting the tempo, and a guest list stacked with the most powerful names on the planet. However, the spotlight didn't just illuminate luxury. It cast long shadows. And now, disturbing allegations are beginning to peel back the curtain, hinting that these weren't merely parties. At least, not in the way the public once believed. So how did we get here? To understand the empire Diddy built, and what may have been hiding inside it, we have to go back to where it all began. It started with a dream in Harlem. Long before the mansions, the private jets, or the whispers behind the velvet rope, Sean Combs was just a kid with relentless drive and something to prove. Fueled by pure ambition, bold decisions, and an unstoppable vision, he hustled his way into Uptown Records as an intern, hungry, focused, and impossible to ignore. It didn't take long for that hunger to pay off. By 1993, Diddy launched Bad Boy Records, and everything shifted. Under his sharp leadership, the label didn't just make music, it redefined the sound of hip-hop. He transformed rising talents like the notorious B.I.G., Mace, and Faith Evans into global icons. He wasn't just producing records, he was manufacturing culture, building a brand, and rewriting what it meant to be powerful in entertainment. But Diddy, true to form, was never one to stop at music. His sights were set on something far bigger, a full-fledged empire. In 1998, he launched his clothing line, Sean John, which quickly became a defining force in luxury streetwear, dominating both fashion runways and major department stores. Not long after, he made a bold leap into the spirits world with Ciroc Vodka, partnering with Diageo in what would prove to be a game-changing move. It wasn't just a business venture, it was a masterstroke that took Ciroc from relative obscurity to industry giant, pulling in hundreds of millions along the way. And then came Revolt TV, a cable network devoted to hip-hop and R&B culture, further cementing Diddy's status as a true media mogul. From fashion and music to spirits and media, Diddy carefully constructed a wide-ranging business empire under the banner of Combs Global, formerly known as Combs Enterprises. His portfolio stretched well beyond entertainment, including investments in Aqua Hydrate bottled water, charter schools, and even his own philanthropic arm, the Sean Combs Foundation. But Diddy didn't just accumulate wealth, he commanded influence. His reach extended from recording studios to A-list Hollywood gatherings, from sun-soaked villas in St. Bart's to backroom discussions in Washington, D.C. He was the ultimate connector, someone who could bring the most powerful people together, no matter the setting. Publicly, he projected the image of a self-made success story. Charismatic, generous, and always in motion, surrounded by luxury and million-dollar deals. He became the very definition of the American dream. However, it's that same circle of influence, the elite parties, the high-profile friendships, the lavish lifestyle, that's now being examined under a much darker, more unsettling spotlight. Maintaining a lifestyle that burns through tens of millions of dollars each year and holding on to a portfolio of assets this massive required Diddy to establish a highly sophisticated financial system, one designed to keep money moving constantly and quietly. While much of his fortune was built through legitimate ventures in music, fashion, and spirits, recent allegations suggest there may have been more going on beneath the surface. According to prosecutors, Diddy allegedly ran a racketeering enterprise, weaving illegal operations into the fabric of his sprawling business empire. This, they argue, could have involved the strategic use of shell companies, complex money transfers across multiple channels, and even masking illicit gains behind legitimate-looking transactions. For months, the spotlight shifted away from the concert stages and landed squarely on the courtroom. The Manhattan Federal Courthouse became the center of one of the most explosive trials in entertainment history. Sean "Diddy" Combs, once a titan of music and media, now stood before a judge, facing charges that threatened to erase everything he had built. Prosecutors unveiled a staggering volume of evidence, including sworn testimony from nearly 36 witnesses, all pointing to a disturbing web of allegations: sex trafficking, racketeering, and the unlawful transportation of individuals for prostitution. These claims, fueled by multiple lawsuits and intensified by the dramatic federal raids in March 2024, painted a dark and unsettling portrait. They portrayed Diddy as a man grappling with substance abuse, marked by a history of domestic violence, and allegedly immersed in a swinger's lifestyle involving orchestrated threesomes. While Diddy waged a fierce fight for his freedom, his legal team consistently defended him, framing the entire investigation as a calculated smear campaign fueled by opportunism and firmly denying each and every accusation. However, as the courtroom battles dragged on, the toll on his business empire became undeniable. He was forced to step away from Revolt TV, lost several high-profile television production deals, and watched as his Sean John fashion brand all but disappeared from department store shelves. On top of that, honorary degrees from institutions like Howard University were revoked, and eventually he was compelled to hand over control of both the Ciroc and DeLeon liquor brands to Diageo. In the end, it became painfully clear: not even Diddy's massive fortune could fully shield his empire from the crushing weight of scandal. As Diddy fought what may be the most critical battle of his life, the world outside didn't slow down. In fact, his downfall became a captivating, if not chilling, focal point for multiple high-profile media projects. Most notably, the long-standing feud between Diddy and his longtime rival, 50 Cent, took a sharp and very public turn. Known for his unfiltered trolling and relentless habit of airing his enemies' secrets, 50 Cent ramped up his attacks on social media throughout Diddy's legal saga. Now, that rivalry has reached a new and much more strategic level. 50 Cent is serving as executive producer on a Netflix docuseries centered on Diddy's alleged sexual misconduct. Directed by Alex Stapleton, the series promises to pull back the curtain on decades of hidden behavior, digging far deeper than the current headlines. But this isn't just a documentary. It's a calculated counterpunch in a war for control over the narrative. At the same time, another 5-part series titled The Fall of Diddy premiered on Max and Discovery Plus, diving into detailed testimonies from alleged victims and former staffers, even analyzing security footage said to show Diddy physically assaulting his former partner, Cassie Ventura. And just to be clear, it was Cassie's lawsuit that ultimately set this entire federal investigation into motion. And then the verdict was in. On July 2, 2025, the jury handed down a controversial decision. Diddy was acquitted of the most serious charges: sex trafficking and racketeering, crimes that could have locked him away for life. It was a stunning legal win, one that few had expected. In fact, his attorney later revealed that when Diddy returned to prison, fellow inmates gave him a standing ovation, claiming they'd never seen anyone beat the government. However, that victory came with a sharp edge. He was still convicted on 2 counts tied to the transportation of individuals for prostitution under the Mann Act, a federal law dating back to 1910. Each of those charges carries a potential sentence of up to 10 years. As it stands, Diddy remains in federal custody at a Brooklyn facility, awaiting sentencing. Prosecutors have recommended 4 to 5 years behind bars, though that number could climb if the court finds evidence of fraud or coercion. Although he managed to avoid what some have called the legal death penalty, the damage to his career has been devastating. Nearly all of his flagship business ventures have collapsed, and the once whispered rumors of a darker lifestyle, marked by violence, excess, and now a criminal conviction, have all but eclipsed the carefully crafted image of a glamorous hip-hop titan. As for what lies ahead, the future of Sean Combs hangs in the balance. Will he attempt to stage yet another comeback from behind bars? Or has this verdict marked the final chapter in an era that once defined him? So there you have it. The meteoric rise, the golden reign, and the dramatic downfall of Sean Diddy Combs. He didn't just shape music. He redefined what it meant to be a celebrity. He chased power with relentless ambition. And in the end, perhaps, he paid a price that few could imagine. His story remains a striking contradiction, a tale of groundbreaking success entangled with unsettling allegations. And now, as the glitter fades and the velvet curtain falls, one question still echoes. Is Sean Diddy Combs the mastermind behind a cultural empire, or the tragic product of a world fueled by temptation, secrecy, and unchecked power? But remember, this story is far from over. The consequences of that courtroom verdict are still playing out, and the full truth may not be settled for years to come. If this video gave you a new perspective, go ahead and hit that like button, share it with someone who remembers the Diddy era, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives like this. And now we want to hear from you. Was justice truly served? Should Diddy have faced harsher consequences? Or was the verdict fair? Is he a visionary empire builder? Or a cautionary warning for the next generation of moguls? Let us know what you think in the comments below.